welcome to Chasing a Murder Talking News. My name is Debbie, and I want to ask you guys before we get started, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell if you would like notifications whenever we have new uploads. So we won't waste any time moving into part 16 of Life Beyond the Grave, the Lori Vallow case. Part 15, we had learned that around the early part of August of 2007, Chad Daybell had written a book called The Great Gathering. And there is something heating up with Lori and her brother, Alex Cox. Lori has told Alex Cox that Joseph Ryan was abusing the children and Colby in a sexual way. Remember Alex Cox's friend Tracy that he had met in a comedy club back in Phoenix, Arizona in 2006? Around the end of July and the beginning of August, Alex Cox tells his friend Tracy that he has to go to Austin, Texas for a visit. He had to handle some family affairs. It is believed that Lori Vallow had actually asked her brother to come and do something about that. So Lori makes plans to switch Tylee out with Joe Ryan on August 5th. She tells Joe Ryan that she wants to meet him at 4702 Trailcrest Circle in a parking lot to return Tylee. And this is after he finishes visiting with his daughter. So Joseph Ryan must be concerned, but he also wants to see his daughter Tylee. We know Joe was actually trying to spend time with Tylee, but Lori was making it difficult for him. We know that he has just spent loads of money on court fees and attorneys fighting to get custody of his daughter Tylee. But on August 5th, Joe Ryan's going to find out that Lori has something special in store for him. According to Joe and his attorney, years later, on August 5th, the day that they exchanged Tylee, he says that this is something that is set up last minute. Joe would have no idea, but when he arrives with Tylee, he is attacked by a man with a taser gun, and we are going to go over that by this affidavit. The police are called, and police say that once they arrived, they walked up to this man by the name of Joseph Ryan. When the policeman arrived on the scene, he said he met with the victim, Joseph, who was identified as the following. The policeman approaches Joe after the call. Report. Ryan was shaken and visibly scared. He said that he was just tased and that he knew who did it. Joe advised the policeman that he was there at that location today to have his first supervised visit with his daughter in about 1 year. When Ryan finished with his visit, he walked outside to his vehicle and was loading items into the trunk. He said that a man was sitting near his car, and this person is most likely Alex Cox, and he was at the picnic table. The man approached Ryan and said, quote, "We need to talk," end quote. Joseph Ryan asked him who he was because he didn't recognize him. The male said, quote, "You know who I am," end quote. Ryan then asked, quote, "Alex," end quote, and realized that it was his ex-wife's brother, who Joseph Ryan identified as Cox Alexander, white male, approximately 40 years of age. Alex said, "We need to talk." Joseph Ryan told Alex that he had nothing to talk to him about, and then turned to a lady who was getting into her car in the same parking lot that they're in to ask her to be a witness to Alex Cox being there and confronting him because of all the trouble he has had with his ex-wife in the past. The witness, identified as, we'll just call them Carrie, which is a white female, said that she would be a witness. Immediately after asking her to be a witness, Alex Cox says to Joseph Ryan, "You know what you did," and pulled out a taser from his pocket stating, "This is for my nephew," and then tased him in the back. Joseph Ryan said he didn't know what he was hit with at first and began running across the parking lot to get away from Alex Cox. It's at that point that Alex Cox ran after him and drive stunned him in the back and knocked him down for a second time. Joseph Ryan must have been scared to death, but it says in the affidavit that he gets back up. He starts running toward the building when another witness came walking out. Joseph Ryan yelled to the man to call 911. Joe said once Cox saw the witness, he stopped chasing him and started calmly walking away. He noticed that Alex Cox got into a Pontiac Grand Prix and left the scene. The second witness was identified as, we will go into the witnesses later. According to later documents, it says that Joe Ryan thought that when Alex Cox first reached into his pocket, that he thought he was going to pull out a gun, and that during that time when he was pulling out whatever, the taser gun, he actually lunged at Joseph Ryan. Joseph Ryan said that he felt the shock in his shoulder. And it's not until Joseph Ryan is actually running away from him that he realizes that he has a taser gun and not a pistol. And Joseph Ryan said that when he falls to the ground, he's able to break the fall by having his hands ahead of him. Joseph Ryan also claims that Alex Cox actually threatened to kill him, and that when he got up the second time, he was running around the corner of that building where there was another witness by the name of Francis. This witness, Francis, saw the accused with the stun gun in his hand. And also the witness seen Alex Cox stop the pursuit of Joseph Ryan and then began to walk away. Police and EMS show up at the scene. Ryan is treated on the scene by Austin EMS, and after the attack, he was not transported to the hospital at that time. But, however, guys, he did go to the hospital the next afternoon for chest pains. It must have, I'm thinking something must have showed up because, according to these documents, Joseph Ryan was actually kept overnight for observation at the hospital. Joseph Ryan also complained that he had neck and wrist pains. He was found to have a fracture of his right wrist from the fall. And in these documents it states once again that Joseph Ryan reported that he was in fear for his own life. Joseph Ryan was scared to death that he was going to lose his life that day. He insists that Alex Cox, Lori's brother, had actually threatened to kill him. So Joseph Ryan, he was just trying to visit with his daughter. He didn't show any signs of being aggressive, of wanting to fight, be disrespectful, when suddenly he goes to return his daughter back to her mother, only to find her brother waiting on him. You have to wonder, was Lori Vallow there? Or was Alex Cox there to pick up Tylee? So where was Tylee this entire time? Did Lori and Tylee witness this attack? So you have to wonder, did Tylee see, her own uncle attack her own father? So this is important because this attack on Joseph Ryan is going to be very familiar in the future to what happens to our fourth husband. So what we're learning right now is Alex Cox, Lori's brother, tells his friend Tracy he has to go make a run to Texas because he has a family affair to care for, right? This leads me to believe that Alex Cox truly believes that the kids are in danger, and he believes every word coming out of his sister's mouth, because he tells Joseph Ryan, the reason that he shocks him with a taser gun, quote, "This is for my nephew," end quote. So Joseph Ryan is actually hit twice, according to the report. It's at that point that this stun gun actually delivers a modulated electric current, which is designed to disrupt the voluntary control of muscles, basically leaving Joseph Ryan incapacitated for a period of time. And a taser device may only be localized pain or strong involuntary long muscle contractions based on the mode of use, guys, and where the darts actually attach to his body. After being hit for the second time, or he feeling shock for the second time, Joseph Ryan says that he remembers rolling to the left in order to get up and take off and run again. It's at that point that he remembers Alex Cox making the threat to kill him. Joseph Ryan is actually affected mentally by this. In fact, he says that he's afraid of what, they might do to his house or to him again. So remember that, guys. He's afraid that these attacks are going to continue. But it's not only Lori Vallow giving him trouble. Joseph Ryan says it's the entire Cox family that has been causing him problems. It can't help but wonder, is Adam Cox involved with this? Summer? We know that Lori Vallow's mother most likely is involved. We never hear much about her father, Barry Cox, but it seems that Joseph Ryan is being attacked by this family constantly. And what's the reason? Well, the reason is Lori Vallow at this time has been telling her mother and sisters and brothers that Joseph Ryan has abused the children, especially Colby Ryan. And Lori Vallow has stated something very concerning, that she'd rather have death for him than another visit with their daughter Tylee. So a lot of people believe that she had actually threatened to kill herself, but it sounds like she was just threatening to hurt him. But what is interesting is Joseph Ryan is not certain what she means by that statement and didn't know whether she wanted to hurt herself or him. So there are several people that we will learn later on that know about the attack of Joseph Ryan. And April Raymond is one of Lori's friends that will be attached to this case. And we'll go into more detail about her later. But she talks to Lori and Alex Cox later about this case, saying that Alex Cox felt like it was his job to protect the children, and that's why he did this, and that he had actually tried to take his life. So let's go ahead and talk about Mary Fogel. I hope I say her name correctly. She is the guardian for Tylee Ryan during this period of time. And Mary actually writes about the incident about Lori's brother, Alex Cox, tasering Joseph Ryan after he dropped off Tylee, who was 5 at the time. She writes, "There are many disturbing events in this case that include a tasering incident at the kids' exchange after the first supervised visit and an alleged assault in the courthouse cafeteria after a hearing." And Miss Mary Fogel says in these 2007 reports, quote, "I am concerned about the level of tension affecting Tylee's emotional well-being if visits continue during this period of uncertainty. Tylee has spoken to me about being scared and not being able to sleep at night," end quote. So here you're hearing the effect Lori's parenting skills have on her children. And I think it's very important to include this information because of the narrative the media is spreading, and the prosecuting attorney even sometimes, that possibly Lori has been a great parent up until she met Chad Daybell. And I feel, which most likely is not a true statement. I feel that her children have been through so much under her care their entire lives. Most of them being unaware that they're even affected by bad parenting. And that is my opinion at the present moment. So it's in 2007 that there are concerns about the attacks being demonstrated by the Cox, both Lori and Alex. There is concern about Tylee's well-being. So there was warnings all the way back to 2007. Please keep this noted for an incident that'll come in the future, near future, with Brandon Boudreaux. So Taniguchi, which is Joseph Ryan's attorney, makes a comment on this attack later on. He says, quote, "Now, how Alex Cox would know about the visitation that just got announced the day before in a location that's not a normal location can only lead you to the conclusion that Lori told him," end quote. So there's things that happened within this case that seem to repeat itself. It'd be the same kind of accusations and threats, but different people involved. It's now a few days later after the attack of Joseph Ryan, and investigators and police are actually trying to get contact with the witnesses who say that they witnessed this attack. And they are asking them to meet with them and to, sign a statement. And then she goes over the fact of how she come to be a witness in this case. She says she was leaving with her son the same time as Joseph and walked out to their cars, and she saw the suspect, Alex, sitting at a picnic bench. She says she was able to hear Alex speak to Joseph, and she was putting her son, who was 1.5 years of age, into the car when she heard Alex identify himself by the name Alex to Joseph, as well as ask Joseph if he remembered him. She said Joseph asked to be left alone. Alex then stepped very close to Joseph. Joseph backed off to leave. Alex then pulled out a taser and tased Joseph. Joseph falls to the ground, and at that point, she locks herself in the car and called 911. She last saw Joseph as he ran off. The cop says, "I made contact with Joseph Ryan, by phone." And then he talks to Joseph about this incident that the witness is talking about and kind of sees that these stories collaborate. There is one different account because Joseph thinks that when Alex first approached him, he thought maybe someone was trying to serve him papers. But after some time of seeing this guy, he started to recognize who he was and realized that it was Lori's brother, Alex Cox. The second witness, which we will mention for a brief moment, Francis, says he did make a report that he's seen Alex with the stun gun and seen him taser Joseph. According to this witness report, it is said that Francis ran after Alex when he took off and got into the gray-colored newer model Pontiac. Francis tells the investigator that he's going to go ahead and write out a statement for him, and they will meet about a week later. At some point during all this, Alex's good friend Tracy, he approaches her with a very strange question. And so take notes on this as well, guys, because you will hear this come up several times later on in this case. So Alex asks his very good comedian friend Tracy to print up a report that Joe looks at porn. And Tracy says that she says no. So this will show you that Alex shows manipulative tactics, and as well as Lori, and they do set people up in order to win. About mid-August, there's an affidavit for the arrest and detention of Alex Cox, and it is filed in Travis County, Texas, and this is for the stun gun attack on Joseph Ryan. And this information come out and was shared by Justin Lum on Fox 10 later on. Now, before we go over the arrest of Alex Cox, I want to kind of go over this witness report by Medic 7. who came out to the scene to evaluate Joseph Ryan the day that he was attacked. So when this medic looked Ryan over, they found 2 small holes in the back of Ryan's shirt, which was punctured by taser gun darts. So Joe's story seems to be reliable. He tells the medic that he had actually fell down twice from being tased. They actually got digital photographs of his injuries and turned the media card into a North substation later. And at this time that Joseph Ryan is being examined by the medic, he does have complaints of pain from being tasered. Joseph Ryan told the medic about his ex-wife, Lori Vallow, and that they had been divorced since 2005. They were dealing, with a joint custody battle over Tylee Ryan. And he identified his ex-wife as Lori Vallow, white female. Then he tells the medic about his concerns for the fear of his own life, and that he's afraid of what they might do to his house or to him. And here's 2 witnesses saying that the entire Cox family has been causing him problems. So before we move forward, let's go over a few details. So Alex Cox around this time really has no address that I know of. When they are searching to arrest Alex Cox, they have to reach out to him through his parents' address for legal purposes. So Janice and Barry Cox, the parents of Lori Vallow, live at 502 Roble Vista, San Antonio, Texas. At least this is the address I collected for around this period of time. So when Alex Cox is finally arrested around August 15th to 16th of 2007, it seems that Alex Cox, his attack on Joseph Ryan, it just doesn't seem to be fulfilled for him. In fact, behind bars, that's all he has on his mind is how to get contact of Joseph Ryan. This is according to one of his friends, Tracy. We also find out that Alex Cox was actually excommunicated from the church, the Mormon church, for most likely these acts against Joseph Ryan. And I want to share something about excommunication with the Mormons. Just because you're excommunicated doesn't mean that it's going to be forever. You have a chance and to become a member again. So really, excommunication isn't really that big of a deal. Now, I want to go ahead and end this here, and we'll pick up on part 16, and we'll continue where Alex Cox is arrested, and then he's writing some very interesting letters. I want to reach out to you guys and ask you to pay attention to these faces. These girls are still missing. They've been missing for years now. There's not much on their story, not much on the updates. And we just want, hopefully media pick up these stories and start investigating a little bit more. I plan to update soon. I want to say, guys, I have hit almost 17,000 subscribers. Kind of at a halt right now. When I got sick, I kind of, I'm not putting up as much material, but I want to thank every one of you because you're the reason that we are doing so well. I really appreciate it, guys, and I love you. Please, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's really important if you like to have alerts whenever we have new uploads. I need to start doing some more shout outs. I'm just trying to get back to normal here, guys. So one step at a time. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.